I think SpongeBob's Artist Unknown episode is a masterpiece that has amazing subtext that all practicing artists should think about when, they're creating their own artwork. Yes, I'm serious. So, if you've been living on a rock or you actually have a social life and you don't constantly watch old SpongeBob episodes as a way of escapism to absolve yourself from the perpetual crushing pressure and anxiety of this dying, depressing place we call our Earth, Artist Unknown is the season 2 episode of SpongeBob SquarePants in which we find Squidward excited to be teaching art class in an adult learning center. It doesn't, take long for Squidward to get ahead of himself and to see this class as a stepping stone to advance his career, solidify himself, and shape the world in the image of the amazing artist that he views himself as.
Bring me your huddled masses of bored housewives, and I will shape them in my image.
And he quickly gets shitted on.
Dude, you're teaching art at the rec center. Calm down.
Squidward then goes on to open the doors and greet an exciting crowd of people. Well, fish people, who are actually looking for the cooking class.
Oh, isn't this cooking? Sorry.
They depart, leaving behind only one person, SpongeBob. Squidward begrudgingly starts to try to teach SpongeBob the fundamentals by drawing a poorly drawn circle. Squidward starts to get annoyed and jealous of SpongeBob's effortlessly artistic creativity and ability. Squidward then attempts to show off his prowess with the chisel, creating a mere pile of rubble. However, SpongeBob produces Michelangelo's David with a single stroke of his mallet, with perfect censorship. Squidward is amazed, but out of jealousy, he scoffs at SpongeBob's masterpiece and refuses to acknowledge his talent. SpongeBob then becomes self-loathing and ashamed of himself and throws himself out of the class. Immediately after, an art collector named
Monty P. Moneybags
comes in saying that he is looking for art to purchase for his new museum. Squidward shows off his own pieces to him, but Monty dislikes them all. Which, in my opinion, is a horrible mistake, because how could you not want the world's greatest painting? Bold and brash. However, he falls in love with SpongeBob's masterpiece, which Squidward takes credit for. While carrying the heavy statue to Monty's car, Squidward accidentally knocks off his head. Monty assures Squidward that he should, easily be able to make another one and that he will come back the next day to get it. Squidward, desperate for SpongeBob to make him another masterpiece, finds and convinces the depressed SpongeBob that he deserves another chance.
Really?
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 Wow. Really?
Upon returning to art class, SpongeBob has unfortunately taken Squidward's prior lessons to heart, strictly adhering to the rules of art. When he attempts to chisel another marble statue, it simply collapses into a pile of rubble. Squidward then goes insane with the frustration and begins smashing pillars of marble in a blind rage of anger and fury. The episode ends with Monty P. Moneybags returning, and upon seeing what Squidward has produced, he asks who is responsible. Squidward shifts the blame onto the janitor and angrily storms out. However, unknowns to Squidward, he has made an even more beautiful and bigger rendition of David while he got angry. And Monty cries out to the janitor,
You, sir, are the greatest artist who ever lived!
And, ending the episode. So what's my point? Take credit for other people's work and pass it off as your own? Well, if the boot fits. All right. In all seriousness, can I be a pretentious asshole just for a little bit? I think this episode can actually shift modern practicing artists' perspectives and mentality about the artwork they make. They are poorly art, or art for art's sake, is a French slogan from the latter part of the 19th century. It's a phrase that basically expresses that the inherent value of art and true art is removed from the didactic, political, personal gain, and utilitarian function. All right. Now hold your seahorses. I'm not saying art can't incorporate these traits. What I'm getting at is that if your sole intent for making art is for personal gain, political, social media influence, or financial status, you're kind of doing a disservice to your own art. At the beginning of the episode, we can see that Squidward's intention for making and teaching art seems to be strictly for his own personal gain and to boost his own ego and influence. While nothing is inherently wrong with that, it shows while Squidward may be a talented artist, is he making art because he loves it or to become a household name and elevate his own status? While on the other hand, we see bright-eyed SpongeBob who's eager to take Squidward's class to make art just for the love of making art. In the episode, we see no alternative motive for SpongeBob taking Squidward's art class. While Squidward tries to ingrain the rules of art into SpongeBob, we see SpongeBob's fun-loving, easygoing personality, constantly being creative and making art for the fun of it with no inherent intention to become an artistic genius, household name, or for his own personal gain. He's not trying to be a pretentious torture genius artist, unlike some people. SpongeBob is having the best time of his life making art just for the love of it, which is a great juxtaposition to Squid's mentality in this episode. While it's super easy to get caught up in the numbers and algorithms of our social media platforms, constantly feeding us small, addictive dopamine hits in a never-ending constant battle of collecting our data and selling it back to the advertisers, what is that doing to our art? Has our art become so commodified to where we quickly create and pump out work to try to appease the algorithm gods? Are we still able to really create art because we love it? Or as artists, do we have to constantly be in a grind mode in an attempt to survive to afford basic living necessities to support ourselves while being able to maintain relevancy and boost our social media presence and influence? Is it even possible to maintain an art for art's sake mentality in the era that we live in? Well, don't look at me. I don't have the answers. I just want to start a dialogue. I'm just a self-loathing pretentious schmuck who writes too many run-on sentences and who loves SpongeBob and art and wants to talk about it. But that's why I think SpongeBob's Artist Unknown is a brilliant masterpiece that all practicing artists can, learn something from.
There will be a wing with my name on it in all the museums of the world!
Dude, you're teaching art at the rec center. Calm down.
Uncultured trash urchin.